Good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, I've got some running around to do, but before I did that, I thought maybe it would be a nice idea to do a garden tour video. We did one, I think we kicked off the channel with a garden tour video, and I didn't check, but I think that was a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago. But I think it's nice to at least go through and see the progress of the gardening. I don't know if I'm going to do them every month. I think that might be a little bit excessive, but a lot has happened, a lot has bloomed, a lot has been added. So I thought it would be nice to just go in and see what the garden is doing at this time, and then we'll assess. Maybe midsummer we can do another one, and then maybe one in the fall. We'll see. We'll play around with it and go from there. But I'm starting up here on the porch. Let's see what is happening in the garden. So right now the porch is kind of a work area. Mom was out here last night late putting this planter together. And this planter, it's actually going to end up going down here in this space. There's three of them. So she's putting this one together, and then she's got this one that she's going to work on today. We've got to get some more. I'm not sure if we're going to get begonias for it or if we're going to do geraniums, get more geraniums, but we got to get some more stuff to get in there. But this is a begonia. See if it has the tag in it still. This is a halo red begonia Rieger. So it would be nice if we could find some more of those. We can put some more in here, and those would be nice. And then these would go over here on this side. So typically that's where we put these. So that's what she's working on right now. But already done, we have our geranium planters over here. We have one here. We've got one here. And we've got one over here. And they're really doing well. If you had seen them a month ago, you'd be a little bit concerned about them. But now that we're in summer and we're getting a nice heat, the summer heat, they're doing a lot better. This one could use some deadheading. I don't usually deadhead. They usually kind of take care of themselves. But that's what we have here. And then we've got our hanging baskets, which are a little bit iffy. These are a little bit iffy. There's a lot of dead to be cut off. So I'm not sure how long they're going to last in this spot. This one is a begonia basket that Mom co-opted. I was going to use it for containers, but Mom really liked it, so she put it up here. And then let's bypass that one because that one's not going to last. And this is another begonia basket that I bought. I love all the colors it's got. So let's see what else we have. All right, so let's move down. We've got three little evergreens, and once we finish cleaning up the porch, we're gonna work on the porch today. So once we finish cleaning it up, we're gonna move these down. And what we usually do is we put solar lights. Like we'll put one on the bottom step. We'll put a solar light a couple steps up, and we'll alternate it. So it's a nice little design. So let's move a little further down, and we see our roses. Ooh, and there's wildlife on our roses. There's a bumblebee. You see it? Poor thing's trying to get comfortable, and I'm just filming it like paparazzi. There was a butterfly too, but the butterfly went away. And it's really good to see because we see less and less butterflies and less bumblebees lately. So I'm really, oh, here's the butterfly. Here it goes. So I'm really starting to think about what I can put in my garden, what plants I could put in my garden that will invite pollinators, because we see less and less of them all the time, and it's really kind of sad. But these are our roses. The bigger roses kind of bloomed and went away already, so they left the rose tips, so we got to prune those. But these are the smaller ones. These are the nice hot pink ones, and they came in really, really, really nicely this year. So I'm impressed by them. I'll give you a close-up look over here. and over here. And a final look at Bumble. My first video of Bumblebee butt. So I'm gonna let the bees do their thing. And then out here we have my Arborvitae. Arborvitae Brandon, I love calling it that. And that's his actual name. That was the name on the tag when I bought it. Arborvitae Brandon. But my Arb planter. And I noticed last night, okay, so these are planted up with, these are Coleus, and then it's Coleus Petunia. I kind of alternated because I'm really not that original, so that's the only design that I know. So these are the Fairway mixed Coleus. And the Petunia, I'm not sure which kind of Petunia, it was just a regular flat. But I noticed yesterday that these yellow petunias are growing like exponentially faster than any of the other ones, and you'll see it a little bit later when we go to the side garden. But these are so tall, and then they're chugging along and they're doing well, but they're not getting quite tall. Now they all came from the same flat, so I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe I'm just bugging out, because they're all from like the same flat. They were all the same kind, but I don't know, maybe the grower mixed them up. Maybe this is a more vigorous kind of petunia. I'm doing the same care. They got the same soil, the same starter fertilizer. They get the same water. I'm doing everything the same with them. I don't know. And let's look at the one over here while we're on this side, while we're over here. It's kind of the same thing. This one's a little bit taller than the other colors. Not that I'm complaining. I'm totally not complaining. If this is what they want to do, then more power to them. It's just a little curiosity. All right, so let's see what else we have. All right, so heading back inside, we have our azaleas, and our azaleas pretty much bloomed already. So now it's just foliage, but I like the nice shiny waxy foliage on these. Now I'm not sure why this one is so plush and this one is not as plush, but I'm doing a video. I'm not sure why this one is so plush and this one is not as plush, and I see some weeds in here, so we're gonna pull that out. Mom just woke up. It's a holiday today, so everybody's kind of relaxed, which is why I decided to come do a video early in the morning, because there would be less noise, less background noise. So I'm just gonna pull these weeds out. You should have seen me yesterday fighting with weeds in the rose garden. Yeah, so anyway, I'm not sure why this one's so big and this one's not as big, but it still looks relatively healthy, so we're going to leave it alone. When we go over to the other side, you'll see the other one that we have in this planter is doing nothing, still doing nothing. I think we're going to have to let that one go. And these are coral bells over here, and this is a crepe myrtle. I'm not sure what type, but it usually starts flowering. It'll start flowering soon. And then we're not done with this section. We have a lot more to do, so I'm just going to show you the pots that are done. These are lilies, and some of them have already started opening, but when these open, I think these are going to be yellow, and then we have some orange ones. And then this is a rose that you might have seen. By the time you see this, you'll probably have seen the video where I was supposed to plant this rose. There's a part 2. So I might post a part 2 before I post this, and the part 2 is going to be planting up this rose in a better container. This rose was gifted to us by a friend, but right now the container it's in, it's not, I don't think it's settled in. I think she just kind of put it in there temporarily, so I need to take it out, make sure the root ball is okay, give it proper soil, maybe put it in a bigger container, but it might not be necessary. I might be able to keep it there, but I got to do a little investigation on that. And then, not sure what this is, but it's beautiful. And then we have our hydrangea. This is one hydrangea. I think this one and this one are the same. They're sisters, and they're the same as the ones I have in the backyard. These are Summer Crush Endless Summer hydrangea. So you can see they're starting to bloom a little bit. And then this one is a different hydrangea. I'm not sure what kind it is. It might be the same kind, but it was given to us. And we have lilies. We have a peony that has seen better days, and this is a weed. I spend a lot of my time pulling weeds. I'll pull this one later. I need 2 hands. And then in our fountain planter, we have marigolds in our fountain planter. I just did some deadheading on these. I need to do a little bit more. Oh, okay, good. Just to keep them fresh looking. And I think we're gonna have to replace this one. That should be an easy fix. And then on this side, we have more lilies. Another hydrangea that was gifted. This one was actually gifted to us. And this is a mixed container. And here you can see the petunia again. This is a mixed container. I don't know what to say about this container. I did this container. Okay, there's a story here. So, when I planted this, the original thing that was in this container was this, which was a coral bell that I had brought in from the side garden. So, when I dug it up, I don't know, maybe it was against the wall for a long time, but it was weirdly shaped, and the roots were going down weirdly shaped. So I literally had to plant it laying down. So the whole plant is on this side. It's only taking up half of the container, if you can see. And the whole plant is coming up from this side of the container, and this side was completely empty. And it didn't look good. So I decided to stick some other plants. I put some Nemesia, and I put some petunias there, just to stick something else in there to give it a little more interest, a little more activity. There's a weed there. So I did that, but the annuals are doing really well. But I don't know if this went into shock when I moved it. I'm really not sure what's happening with this one right now. The whole root ball is under soil. It's covered in soil. It's getting water, but it just never really recovered from being moved. And this one was the other one that I moved, and it was doing well. I had it in the side garden, and it was doing well. The side garden is the same amount of sun as here, the same conditions. I literally had it right there, and we just moved it right here, and that's what it's doing. I'm really not sure why. So we're gonna monitor. Maybe I'll just come in one day and take off all the dead stuff. It really looked a lot better than this, and it gets regular watering. I'm out here watering every day or every other day, so it gets the same amount of watering that it would have gotten when it was in the ground. It's getting now. So I don't know. I understand this is why people are hesitant to move plants, because you never know what they'll do. But oh well. So we'll just keep monitoring and see what's going on. And here is one of the lilies that was gifted to us. All right, let's see what else we have. Oh, before we see what else we have, I'm not sure why this is here. So this is the other azalea. And I remember we talked about this azalea in the last tour, and we were waiting. I was waiting to see if anything happened, if there was any life in here. And there's still, I don't know if you can see it, but there's still a little tiny bit of green in these branches, but there's absolutely nothing happening in this plant. And for the life of me, I just can't figure out what the issue could be. I don't know if it was slowly dying. I have no idea. I know over the winter we had, like a lot of people, we had a lot of snow and it was very cold. And this whole area, when we did snow removal, this whole area was like covered in snow. So I don't know, maybe it got too much snow. Maybe it got some salt mixed in the snow. I have no idea. But everything else came back except for this. So we'll figure that one out. All right, let's see what else we have. Okay, so here we have Asiatic lilies that are coming up. Admittedly, these are coming up kind of slowly, and every day I end up coming in here and pulling out weeds. Like there's some over here in the corner, there's some right here, there's some over here. So I'll keep pulling weeds, but these are coming up pretty slowly. So I don't know. We may have to replace these bulbs. I don't remember if we divided them the way we were supposed to. I don't think we divided them in the fall. So maybe they just needed to be divided. I'm not sure. Admittedly, I don't know much about Asiatic lilies. This is usually Mom's work. She specializes in this. I'm just kind of learning. So we'll see what they do. It's a lot more sparse. There are usually a lot more of them, but this last fall we forgot to cover up this area. Things just got busy and we didn't get a chance to cover up this area, and the squirrels had a field day and just took a lot of the bulbs. So this is what we have left. So we're definitely going to have to divide, and that way we'll be able to fill in the area a little bit more, fill in all these little gaps and spaces, and we'll see how they do next year. The hostas are looking amazing, and we've got weeds. There's always weeds. Everywhere, there's always weeds. There we go. We've got some petunias down here. Now, this wasn't the best place to put annuals because, as you can see, they're covered up. But Mom wanted to try, so we tried. And now we know that maybe this isn't the best place to put small annuals, small plants. We've got a rose in here. And here we've got our salvia, which I'm probably going to have to cut back. You can cut back salvia. Oh, we've got some calabrocha, some mini bells peeking out. Anyway, you can cut back salvia after they finish blooming in the spring, and they might flush back and give you another bloom. So I'll do a little research to see just how far I need to cut it back, and then we'll go from there. And we've got our dahlia over here, and I've got to get in there because there's a weed in there too. But this is our white, no, I'm thinking white diamonds, and that's a perfume. White something, white fantasy, white dream, or something like that. Dahlia. So this one's going to grow tall, and it's a dinner plate variety, so the blooms are going to be big. And I've already started to stake it a little bit because it was leaning. As it grows, I'm going to stake it to the fence instead, because it's going to get much bigger than that stake. So I'll stake it to the fence instead, so it'll have support as it grows. And here's another rose about to bloom. I just remembered this rose hasn't bloomed yet this year, so that's going to be exciting. And we've got this evergreen bush over here. The bleeding hearts are just about done, so now it's got this nice foliage, and I was looking at this yesterday, and I kind of like this foliage. The way the leaves feel and the way they look, the lines and striations they have, it's very beautiful. And this rose is still going pretty strong. And over here, we've got our lone gladiolus, the last one of the lot that's left. Here it goes. So we're going to see how this one grows, and if it grows healthy, then we'll keep it. But if not, we'll pull it out at the end of the season and either plant some more or we'll plant something else. We have, is this the same part of the same rose? No, this is part of this rose. So we have another rose down here. Now, you see this one over here? This one is an at last rose that I planted. I've got another one, the sister his sister is planted in the back garden. I'll show you later. Um, but it's usually taller, so it's not usually hidden by the hostas, but the landscapers cut it down really low. I guess it had a lot of damage from all the snow. So I'm going to end up digging this out and moving it to a better spot, and seeing, if I can get it to grow more healthy, because it's going to get strangled in there. We've got dahlia. I think it's pink fusion dahlia. And we also got another dahlia, the other white fantasy, or I can't see. Good morning. I can't see the tag, but I think it's white fantasy. I'll go back and look. But that one's doing well. It's not as tall, but it's still doing well. It didn't start out as tall. The other one started out taller. And we've got our guara, which I also think I can cut back after it finishes its bloom, and it might give us another bloom. It bloomed really well. It was already blooming when I planted it, but it was blooming really well. We've got more coleus. And again, the hostas are doing fabulously. And back here, hidden by the hosta, we have some more geraniums. And we have a peony that's just about done. It needs to be deadheaded. And we have a knockout rose that has seen better days. It's only got a little bit of green all the way on the far side over there. I think this one again was covered in snow, piles and piles and piles of snow for way too long, so I think it took a toll. So we'll see what it does, but it might not make it through next winter. Well, we might have to pull it out. And over here we've got our rose. One of the hanging baskets that's doing amazingly, actually. This one's doing really well. See if I could turn it around for you. And this is Calabocha, mini bells. And then we have our rose trellis, which was a battle for me yesterday. I was pulling out weeds. There was a whole weed bush that was growing in the rose trellis that nobody noticed. And yesterday I came out here and pulled it. I might have threatened it within an inch of its life and reminded it that I'm from New York and it doesn't want to mess with me. But I ended up pulling it, so it's gone. And here are some of the roses on the rose trellis. And it's underplanted with some hostas. So on the side garden, we've got lots of stuff to talk about. We have our blueberries. So these are 2 blueberry plants, and it's already giving small blueberries. Now these blueberry plants are baby, so I'm not expecting a yield from it. It's not going to do that in any kind of serious way this year because they're babies. We just planted them. So maybe next year I'll get a harvest from it, but right now I want it to concentrate on developing the roots and developing foliage and just becoming strong. So, and it's doing that. They're doing that. And then we have, this was I don't know if you can even see it. There you go. This was well, there's a lot of weeds around it, but this was a blackberry that I planted. It never came up, and I think I had waited too long to plant it, so it just got dry and didn't survive. So we're gonna pull that out, and I'm thinking, and this could be a weird thought, but I'm thinking I have a fair amount of space here, and I've always wanted to try something like cantaloupe or melon. Maybe not melon because melon's bigger, but if I could try like maybe 2 cantaloupe plants. I don't want to get too aggressive because you're going to need space for that, but 2 cantaloupe plants. We get a fair amount of sun on this side each day, so I might be able to get away with having 2 of them here. Maybe. I'll think about that. It'll be nice to have a little fruit here. And then here are these are 2 scallions that I planted. I planted these in the video. So chives, not scallion. Well, we call chives scallion. They're pretty much the same thing to us. But there's two of them, and then these are potato plants. Look at the foliage on the potato plants. I'm excited. You can't even tell how many I planted. I actually planted 5 here, and I planted an onion also, but I don't know. Oh well. Okay, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I might have to pull it up. But the potato plants look amazing. So I'm kind of excited to see just how many potatoes we're gonna get from them. And then here, all the way down the line, we have these planters, hanging planters with petunias. But here you can see again, you see how tall the yellow ones are getting? And the purple ones and the pink ones, they're doing well, but they're not quite as tall. So I think the grower got something mixed up. I can't be sure, but we'll see. Anyway, here are our tomatoes, and the tomatoes go all the way down the line. And at the end of the section, I'll show you a little bit more closely in a minute, are peppers. But the tomatoes are doing well. Now, admittedly, I packed in the tomatoes pretty, I packed them in pretty closely. So that might become an issue later, but we can always move things, give things away if we have to. My motto this year is try it. If it doesn't work, then let it go. So that's what we're going to do. And over here we have, this is the side garden. This is going to be the side garden. Now, I haven't really started on the side garden. I placed a couple things, but it's going to be bigger than this. All the planters that you see, I'm actually going to use those for different things. So we have 2 geraniums over here that I saved from their nursery containers and put them in here, and they're doing much better. This one has a whole bunch of blooms getting ready to come up, and this blooms are opening up now. And then this one is a dahlia that I actually saved. It had gotten lost in it got lost in one of the bigger containers. We kept overlooking it, and it was drying up. So I deadheaded it and I put it in a larger container, and I just planted it up with 2 of the coleus. I think 3 of the coleus. 3 coleus. So that's doing well. And then we have some basil and some peppers that we're gonna see if we can plant somewhere. I'm gonna actually mix them in here. So this area, the side garden, is gonna be a mix of both flowers and vegetables or fruit plants. I'm gonna mix it up and see if I can kind of diversify a little bit. And over here, this is actually a strawberry plant. So when I first started strawberries, this was a container that I used. Let's move the stick out of it. This was a container that I used to start the strawberries. And I think I had 4 of them in here. And in the middle I had marigolds or something like that. I can't remember. But so I started them in here. And eventually I ended up moving them out. So I must have missed one or part of one. I don't know exactly what happened, but this one got left. Maybe I was supposed to come back and get this one and I never did. And this one got left in here. And this was like a couple years ago. And I never noticed it. Maybe I thought it was a weed, so I tried to pull it and I didn't get all of it, but it's still growing. Now this one's kind of an old strawberry plant, so I don't know if it's going to produce. It might be, strawberry plants usually go 3 to 5 years and then they start to lose productivity. So I'm just going to kind of wait and see what it does. And here are the peppers a little bit more up close. So I've got a few different kinds of peppers, and some of them are giving fruit already. I just noticed that. And over here. So these are sweet banana peppers, and I think I grew these last year. I have sweet banana, and I have sweet pepper, and I have bell pepper. So let's see, and I had pimento. Maybe the pimentos are over there in the back that I didn't plant yet. So we'll see how these are going. This area needs to be weeded, and it needs to be mulched properly. I have to get some more mulch because over here I don't use the regular mulch. I use the natural mulch because I don't want dyes or anything leaching into the soil. But these are cucumber plants over here, and only a few of them came up so far, but we'll see what they do. And then over here, the carrots are starting to come up. And these are mostly weeds, but the carrots are starting to come up. Over here, these are the carrots. Now, this is my second time planting carrots, and it's been weird. It's been kind of a strange season. The first time I planted carrots, nothing came up, even though I planted kind of heavily. This time, and I planted at the right time. I planted when it was cold, but it wasn't too cold, so it wasn't like the seeds just sat in the soil and died. I don't know what happened. This time I planted carrots a little bit later, and I planted pretty heavily. I did it in the video, and I planted pretty heavily, but only a couple of them are coming up. So it's a little bit weird. And one of my neighbors said they're noticing the same thing, so I don't know. This is the arugula. I know this in the front is the arugula, and that one over there is the arugula. Oh, the stuff in the back are weeds. And then this is the bush beans. These are bush beans. So those are growing nicely. The arugula I'm watching very closely because now that it's hot, the arugula will bolt quickly. So I'm watching them closely, and as soon as I see it maturing and ready to harvest, I'm going to harvest them quickly before they bolt. And then we've got some more tomato plants here, some more peppers here. We've got mint that we always plant in a container because mint is aggressive, and it will spread. It'll spread all over the place, so we plant it in a container. And this is thyme. And now we have the back garden. So here's the back garden. So here, let's take our time. So this is a peony that I planted. I bought it maybe a week and a half ago, and I planted it within a few days of buying it. So it wasn't in the container for very long. I am really not sure what happened. This area gets a fair amount of sun, a good amount of sun, which, I mean, these things are doing excellently with all the sun this area gets. And it gets even and regular watering. So I'm not sure if this is just a regular growth habit after it blooms. I'm not sure if this is normal for it or what. I'd never bought this type of peony from this grower before. I just saw it in one of the big box stores and I liked it, so I got it. So I don't know. I'm not sure what it's doing. But we'll wait and we'll see. This one is the fruit smoothie zinnia that I planted in the last video. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I think the day before yesterday. And then these are lilies. These are a type of lily, I believe. And it's finally getting ready to open up. So that's kind of exciting. Under here is a strawberry plant that will probably need to be moved. Well, it might enjoy being protected under there. These are Calabrocha, mini bells, and there's a miniature rose in here somewhere. Right there. No, but it's a nice bloom getting ready to come out. So I might just move this rose up a little bit more so it's not under the lily. And there's some Nemesia here. There's clematis here that's just about finished blooming. I saw one of the last flowers the other day, so it's just about done. And some strawberry here. In this bed, I had so many strawberries last year and the year before that I just kind of interspersed strawberries all over the place. So you'll see strawberries in a few parts of the garden. This is nasturtium. This one and that one are nasturtium. I've never grown nasturtium, so I'm not sure what nasturtium does. I probably should have researched that before I planted it. But it's doing well. It's growing vigorously. So I'm happy with it. So yeah, we'll just let it grow and see if it's going to eventually flower. I grew this from seed. So I planted the seed here maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. I planted some here and some here. I think I planted some over here, but it never took. So I don't know if birds got to it or what the case was. But these came in from seed. These are a little bit smaller because I think while I was planting one day I sat on it, and so I think I stunted the growth a little bit. It needed some time to recover from me sitting on it. But yeah, so that's the nasturtium, and here are some dahlias. These are beautiful, and these are much bigger. I have dahlias in a few places that I bought from the nursery. I bought them like this. I didn't start from tubers. I bought these at the nursery, and they're so much bigger now than when I bought them. They're growing so nicely. This one is black-eyed Susan that I got. My cousin gifted me some black-eyed Susan. She gifted me a whole bunch, and I spread them out in the garden. But only this one and another one down there, that tall one down there, are the only ones that survived. So I'm really happy. You know, only the strong survive in my garden. And some geraniums. They're doing really well, holding their own back here. And we've got snapdragons. Now, I've been saying that the snapdragons survive the winter because they're in our area they're known as tender perennials. So if they come back, I thought that they came back because they were hardy, they were tough. But I think what it is they reseeded themselves. So they reseeded themselves in this area. You can't see it right now, but you can. If it wasn't so lush, you'd be able to see the old plant, and then this is a new plant. And I didn't notice that before, so I was wrong when I said they survived the winter. They didn't survive the winter. They reseeded themselves, so that's how they ended up coming back, which is great. I'm loving it. I'm loving having these here. They're doing really beautifully. And then this is the other miniature rose, and it's doing well. And you can see. And back here we have some more of the Fairway Mix Coleus. And we have our grand princess rose here. It's not called a princess rose. I'm not sure what it's called. I just call her a princess because she's grand and regal and majestic to me. And these are two more dahlias. They're kind of in between blooms right now. But this one's got a bloom here, a bud here, and I saw another one. It's gonna bud right here too. So we'll give it a chance. This one was back here, but I moved it. And back here I planted two sunflower. These are the sunspot sunflower. And that was in the last video that we planted those. And we've got our Russian sage. And another hydrangea. This is a different type of hydrangea. I'm not sure exactly what type, if it's macrophylla or big leaf or what type it is, but I know it's beautiful and I love it. And some more mini bells, some more nemesia in different colors. Our grapevine, which is just taking over this corner. This is the new grapevine that we planted in a video a few weeks ago. And then the old one over here, that's finally vining over here. I think I had to encourage it to vine over here, but it's doing well over here. And our other At Last rose is done. It's done blooming, so it needs to be deadheaded. So we'll get to this. This is, oh gosh, what is this? Verbena. This is some verbena. Over here we had the ranunculus, but I pulled out the ranunculus, and I'm going to do a video on how we save the ranunculus corns, and I'm going to pull out the ones in the front too and save those for next spring. And here's the other black-eyed Susan. Let's see what else there is. So here we've got some hostas over here. We gotta clean up that area. And this area, admittedly, the last couple of years I've kind of been slacking on this area. I had planted it up the first couple of years that I started gardening, But the last couple of years, I just kind of ran out of steam. But I'm gonna try a little bit more. We've got a ladybug. Oh, there she goes. A ladybug climbing around looking for some food. Anyway, so I'm gonna try a little bit more because there's empty areas over here. First of all, we're gonna use this container for something. I'm gonna move it from here and use it for something. But there's empty areas around the tree. There's empty areas under here. There's areas here that we can plant some things, and make this area as full as this area is. And this is a little bit trickier because it's a part to mostly shade. The little bit of sun that's getting now is all the sun that it's going to get. It's not going to do much more. So, but there are things that you can do. There are plants that actually enjoy part to sun, part to mostly shade. So I'll do a little research and I'll start planting that up. But here we've got hostas, we've got roses. We're not sure what this is. This plant was gifted to us by my cousin, but I don't know what it is. It's gorgeous. It looks like an outside version of a spider plant, but it's really pretty. And then we've got roses here. And these have kind of bloomed and fleshed out again. This rose still has a nice bloom. Well, you got to clean up this area a little bit. A lot of cleaning in the garden. And we've got a rose in there. We've got a weed in there, but it's got a pretty flower, and it's kind of difficult to get to. So you might win this round, sir. But next year, I'm coming for you. All right, so we've got a peony in here that's pretty much done. So the peonies I leave up so they can get some sun. I leave the foliage up so they can get some sun. Sometime next month or the month after, I'll probably cut it back. So sometime in July or August, I'll cut it down a little bit, because it's done blooming. It's not going to bloom again. But we leave it up to get the sun in their foliage, because that, as they photosynthesize, that gives the bulbs strength. They need that strength so they can bloom again next year. So I'm going to leave it there. And we have coral bell. This is the lone survivor of the coral bells that I moved from the side garden, and it's doing pretty well. So I'm glad I didn't butcher all of them. And over here, this was in the last video. These are two of the sunflowers that we moved. These are the teddy bears. So these are going to get a little bit taller. These are going to get taller than these things that are in the front, but not that much taller. So that's why I put them here. So we've got space in the back. See this space in the back over here? I think what I'm going to do in the back here is I'm going to plant dahlias. I've grown dahlias here before, so I know they get enough sun here to grow and to bloom. But I'm going to plant two of them. I'm going to straighten up this trellis and plant one here in this corner and one over here. And I'm going to plant the tall dinner plate varieties, and I'll get trellises to train them up to keep them nice and straight. Because with the dinner plate varieties, you have to have a system to stake them, because if not, then they'll either fall over or they'll grow. They grow funny. Like instead of them growing up, their stems growing up, they'll grow bent over and they'll just spread all over the place. And then if you wait too late and try to fix them, their stems are hollow, so they break very easily. So I'll prepare all of that ahead of time. And we have our rose, our climbing rose, Floribunda climbing rose, and it's still got some pretty healthy blooms in here. There she goes. So she's pretty much done for now. So we'll cut her back. We'll do all the roses in the video. We'll cut her back, and then she might bloom again in the season. And then another peony. Again, we're going to leave the foliage up and for a couple more months, and then we'll cut it back. And under here we've got a daisy. And she's done for now. And then this is our monstrosity. I gotta stop saying monstrosity. This is our butterfly bush, getting ready to be great. So we're gonna let it be great, and then we'll trim it back a little bit, and just to control it. It's just to control it, to keep it from getting huge, because this might not be the best space for it. And then we have our other snapdragon that again reseeded itself here, and it's doing beautifully. It's got, I'm not sure why this one's got all the colors and the other one doesn't. They came from the same seed packet, but hey, do your thing, guys. Back here we have dianthus. We had a really windy day yesterday, so the day before all of these stems were standing up, but after a really windy day, the wind just knocked them all down. But they were flowering very nicely. Over here we just planted the pinwheel dahlias. Those are the pinwheel dahlias. We have our spotted dead needle. We have our impatiens right here. What kind of impatiens are these? These are, oh, that's Nemesia. Here they go. These are the Darla white impatiens. The white ones, and then the purple ones, the purple and yellow ones are Nemesia. We have our lavender. Yesterday I planted the exquisite, these are the exquisite zinnia, and then a begonia, and over here we planted another exquisite. And then this is another peony, Ito peony, I think it is. I can't remember. In fact, I think I got them confused. I think this one was a regular peony, and then this one was an Ito peony. Yes, this one was an Ito peony, and then this one was a Sandra Bernhardt peony. I remember. I had to do the research because I remember I still have the receipts from when I bought them. So this was the first peony that I bought. So this one, I'm saying it again in the video to keep myself honest. This one, at the end of the season, when I cut it back, I'm pulling out the bulb a little bit, and I'm raising it a little bit because I think it's planted too deeply, and that's why it's not flowering. It's been here. This is the third year, and I have yet to see a flower. It always gets these little tiny buds in here, but they never open, and I don't think the bulb is getting enough sunlight. So we're going to raise them a little bit and see what happens. And then these are the Endless Summer Crush hydrangeas, and they're coming into color. They're blooming. They're starting to bloom, build their bloom heads now. This is the Labularia. That might be Pooh. I will move that. Somebody's cat. We have a lot of stray cats in the area. But yeah, the Labularia has pretty much bloomed, and now it's just doing foliage. This is my first time growing Labularia, so I'm learning about its growth habit as we go along. And here we planted the fruit smoothie zinnias. So this one's bowing a little bit. Hopefully it'll come back up. And then there's this one. So we might have to move them as they grow because spacing might be an issue, but we're gonna see. Like I said in yesterday's video when I planted them, the whole idea of this garden was to just throw everything but the kitchen sink in here and see what stuck. So that's what we're gonna do, so we can have a nice packed out garden. And this, I found while I was planting yesterday, I found the plant tag. This is a clematis. I don't know if I like it, but it is a clematis. So we'll wait and see what happens in the next video, in the next few months, and how it grows. I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. And we're gonna end with our strawberry plants. These strawberry plants bloomed, gave like crazy, and we had a nice harvest. So every time I came out, I would pick strawberries, and I wouldn't even go inside, take them inside. I just eat them out here. So I'm looking forward to next year with these strawberries. Now, two things about the strawberries. The runners, I think I saw a video of somebody that actually bagged the runners in soil and to create new plants. So it might be too late for these because these are already kind of dried out. But for these that are producing now, once they're finished, I think I'm gonna bag these runners and with soil and let them root in, and then those will be new plants, new strawberry plants that I can use in other parts of the garden, or that I could give away to friends. But this one is making strawberries now, so that's really cool to see. And that is just about it. That is what's going on in the garden right now. There's also a lot of birds. There's always a lot of birds here. We live not too far from the beach, so we get all kinds of birds here. Anyway, so I'm going to do some running around today and then come back and do some planting. But I thought I would just give you a little look-see of what was going on in the garden and what we're working with today. And we're going to keep on working. We're going to work all through the summer, filling in places, planting and tucking things in, because that's what we enjoy. Anyway, so it was nice doing this tour with you today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.